Hello, this is Pam. I'm back with another Back to Basics stamping video. And today I am going to use this stamp set from Joy Claire. It's called Paisley Bouquet. This is one of the first stamp sets that they have come out with. They've been out now for years, so check them out. But what I wanted to concentrate on was the solid image stamps. This flower right there is a solid image. And in my last video, I said that I didn't have any pigment inks. Well, look, I found this down in my cupboard. It is Colorbox Pigment ink pad. They are petals. So what that means is you can open this up and you can slide these little, well, that one came right off the ink pad. This is very old. This is one of the first ones that I ever had, so these are pretty worn, but there's still ink in them. But see, they come out and you can use them to ink up your images. But I will use the purple one, and then the green one I will use for the petals because I'm going to put some petals on there. But the pigment ink, I think, works great with a solid image. Here's the stamp there. I have quite a few different other types of inks, and the pigment inks, because they're thick, they seem to stick very well to photopolymer solid image stamps. Now, dye inks will work on like outline images really well, like this one here, if you want to color that in. But the pigment inks, they do work really good for solid images. Even on a rubber stamp, that's fine too. So I'm going to show you the pigment ink stamping on that. And if my green doesn't quite ink well, like I said, these pigment inks that I've had, oh my goodness, I've had them at least 15 years. I don't use them much, but there is ink left in there. So I'm going to use the purple on the flower, and we're going to try to get the green. But like I said, these come out of here. Not all pigment ink pads look like that. You can get some that look like this. This is another one that I found. This one's about dried up. There's not a whole lot of ink left in there. Or you can just get regular full-size ink pads of the pigment. But it is nice for the solid stamp. So I thought, well, I will show a video using the pigment inks. So if someone's new, again, to stamping, and they're not sure what inks to get, you can get both. You can get the mini little ones too. Here's I think they call these the cat's eye. Now most of these are dried. I have re-inked them actually with dye ink because it works, but these are little mini ones. So you don't have to invest in like the large full-size ink pads. You can get the smaller ones just to try them out. But the thing is, with the pigment inks, they do take a while to dry. So if you're wanting to make a card in a hurry and send it off to someone, don't use pigment inks because it won't dry unless you have a heat tool that you can dry them with. So there's the stamp all inked up. So we're going to stamp a few of these flowers on here, and you can second gen stamp these, which means you stamp once, lift off, move it over just a little bit, and you can stamp again, and you will get a lighter shade of the ink. You can do this with any type of ink, dye ink, hybrid, pigment, it doesn't matter, they'll all work. And then see, you get a very lighter, much lighter image than the first. So I'm going to ink that up again. And see, I like the pigment ink because see how pretty and uniformed stamping that does give. And they're very vibrant. Usually the pigment inks are a very thick pigmented type ink, and they are on a sponge. They're on a sponge pad. I'm not real sure why most pigment inks are on sponge pad, but they are. And you get a real bright stamping with them. Some of the chalk inks also, you can get a vibrant color to your stamped images. So see, there's another one, and I suppose I could do another second gen down here. And it's another quick card, other than the drying time of the ink. So I'm going to use the leaf that comes in this set. It is like a paisley, because their stamp set is called Paisley Bouquet, and it's that image right there. So I'm going to stamp a few of those leaves around, and then we'll do a sentiment. Not real sure what color I'll use for that. Maybe a dark blue. Let's bring that in and show you. Like I said, this Petal Point ink that I have here is, I've had it for so long. I might have to go over this. And usually if you have a new pigment ink pad, you will not have to keep going over and over and over and over. It will have a lot more ink in it than mine. But you can see how long they last. They take a long time to go through the ink, actually, in a brand new one, because this one's quite old. Alright, so let's get our little leaf, and let's see how dark that is. That's pretty. I guess I could do a lighter one over here where there's a lighter one that I stamped. Yeah, that's good. It's almost like an emerald green. I don't even know. I think these actually give the color of it. Yes. That one just says green on it, but it is an emerald color green. It seems like once I got the ink going on it the first time, the second time went a lot better. But it does give a real pretty bright stamping, these pigment inks. And since I did a light one, we'll put one over here. Second generation stamping. Pretty. Alright, so the sentiment is from the same set. I'm going to use the Happy Birthday. It has a really pretty font in these sentiments. Cursive, scripty. So I already have that on my block there. And I suppose I'll try the dark blue. See how much ink is left in that one. I don't have a black pigment. I have a black hybrid, which is a hybrid ink, is a pigment and dye ink blend. They dry a lot faster than just regular pigment ink. You still get a bright stamping with them, but I like the pigments for, I don't have many solid images in my stamps, just because of the fact that I didn't realize I had these pigment inks. So I don't tend to buy a solid image just for that fact. Now you can see I've got ink all over on the inside of the stamp, well, actually where there's not, but that's alright. It's not going to bother it any. So let's see how dark that stamps. I'm not quite sure that it's going to be as dark as what it originally was supposed to be. And another nice thing with the clear stamps is you can line this up without having to use a stamping tool of any kind, because it's clear. Yeah, that looks good, I think. Now I am going to attach this to the card base, even though that ink is probably not quite dry all the way, but I want the finished, for you to see the finished card. And I have the standard A2, again, card base. This time this is going to stand up this way. So this is again a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and it's cut in half at 5.5 inches, and then I have scored that into the card front. And then the card, or the stamp panel, is the same size as the first card that I did the video on. It is 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And the cardstocks and the white cardstock that I use in all of my videos come from Stampin' Up. It's the only cardstock that I buy. The Whisper White is a little thinner. It's not real good for card bases, but they do make a solid, or not a solid, a heavyweight white cardstock for card bases, so that works. That works good, but this Whisper White works great for your paneling stamped images there. So this is, again, my Tombow tape runner. I did fill it up. I have a new refill in there. Any tape runner will work, whatever you have. So we'll put that, I'm trying not to get it too, it'll smear. That's what, if you don't let it dry and set up well, the pigment inks will. And I have my card base upside down. Don't do that. But anyways, your ink, your pigment ink will smear if you do not let it dry. If I would run my finger over that right now, it would probably smear it. So I don't want to really touch it until it sets and dries. Like I said, if you do have a heat tool, that is one of the one of the first tools that I did buy after I started stamping. So it is nice to have. So if you get into the embossing and whatnot, you will need that heat tool. But see, again, a pretty easy card just with using one stamp set and pigment inks this time. It gives a pretty bright stamping, and even my sentiment come out well. So I'm pleased with that. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.